What's the coolest thing about this recipe is that most of the ingredients are things that you would already probably have with you if you're out camping. Golden syrup, camp oven dumplings. Let's do it. And yes, I'm going to take the dumb looking glasses off. So the things that you probably already have with you: milk. How are you going to have your morning coffee without milk? Eggs. Who goes camping and doesn't do bacon and eggs? Water. If you don't have this stuff, you're probably going to die of dehydration. Sugar. You got to sweeten your morning coffee. I mean, come on. And butter. How are you going to butter your bread without some good old butter? Now, the things that you probably don't have with you, unless you're a freak like me: golden syrup. Obviously, it's golden syrup dumplings, and also some self-raising flour. All right, let's get started. To start with, we're going to do the syrup. So for the syrup, you need about 750 mils of water. So that's about 3/4 of a litre. So that should be about right. Next up, we need about 3 tablespoons of golden syrup. When it decides to work. Yeah, a bit more. All right, we'll call that 3 tablespoons. And about maybe 2 tablespoons worth of sugar. And just a little bit of butter. I don't know, about a tablespoon. We'll go with that. Oi, get down there. All right, cool. That's the syrup all done. How simple is that? Now pay attention, guys, because this is when it gets really complicated, all right? So the first thing that you should probably do right now is actually go and wash your hands, because you know, you've probably been touching all sorts of funny stuff out in the bush. Okay, so now you need 2 cups of self-raising flour. Now these cups are a little bit bigger than your standard cup measure, so I'm not going to fill it all the way to the brim. Doesn't really matter if you don't get these right. I mean, just about out of flour. Because you can always put less milk in later on. It's no big deal. Okay, so now we need about 2 tablespoons of butter. Alright, so now you got to get really messy and pretty much blend it all together until it kind of looks like breadcrumbs. So just really get the butter nice and spread out all through the flour. And let's just do a bit of fast forwarding here, because you guys don't want to really watch this. And probably right about now we should add in some sugar as well. So about 1 or 2 tablespoons. So after a couple of minutes, you should end up with something that looks roughly like that, kind of like breadcrumbs. So the next step, grab your egg, chuck that in there. Now you guys don't have to do this, but I love vanilla essence, so I'm going to chuck a little bit of that in there as well. And now we're just going to add a little bit of milk, and you just kind of add enough so you kind of have a bit of a dough, but obviously you don't want it to be too wet. So we'll just put a little bit for the start and see how we go a bit later on. Your hands are going to get all nice and grotty now. Love it. A little bit more milk, I'd say. Hardest part is if you put too much and then you got to add more flour, and it just turns into a disaster. Okay, so we've ended up with something that looks a little bit like a dough. So what we're going to do now is just grab a little bit and just roll it into a ball. And just keep doing that. Try and keep them all about the same size so they cook about evenly. And we'll just speed up this shot here because it's not terribly interesting either. So we've ended up with 9 little balls. Let's go chuck the camp oven in the fire and get this cooking. All right, so what we actually need to do now is just get this syrup mixture boiling and get all the sugar and everything to combine. So I'm just gonna clear a little spot in the fire for it and we'll bring it to the boil. Got some nice red hot coals there, so that should get it boiling pretty fast. All right, so that's all boiling and it's really well combined, so that's good. So all we're gonna do now is just grab our little dumplings and just chuck them in there. I'm just making them a little bit flatter so that they're actually in the water. This pot's a little bit too big for this, I must admit, but what do you do? All right, I'm just splashing the syrup over them all so that they're all soaked in it. And let's get that lid back on. So we'll leave them in there for about 15 minutes and see how they're going after that. So we'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Can't wait. All right, let's see how they go and do the old stab test. Looking pretty good. Oh man, that smells amazing. I'm gonna call that done. All right, here we go. Don't know why I put that so far away. I tell you guys what, there is nothing I love more than contrast in food. What I mean is hot and cold contrast. Like, I don't know, hot French fries with cold ice cream just goes so well. Hot chips with sour cream and sweet chili sauce, bee's knees. So when you make these, some ice cream is awesome. Most of the time you don't have a freezer with you, so cream or custard is a pretty good alternative, I say. Chuck a little bit of that in there. Let's try this out. That turned out really, really nice. Not too sweet either, just right. So guys, get out there, give this recipe a shot. It's fairly simple and you're probably already carrying most of the stuff that you need for it anyway. Fire season's coming to an end as well, so get out there and give it a go. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to get out there and seek adventure!